Hello and welcome to episode number 106 of The Reasons I'm Broke. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
And this episode has been brought to you by Mythicon. We're going to cover it as our very first topic, but first a message for our first-time listeners.
For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. The format of our show is first we start out with some news ranging from comic books, TV, video games, and more, and we follow up with our comic book pull list of the week. Usually a whole lot of Batman.
Exactly, so we're going to close out with our comic books, but first, Mythicon. They've been Nerd Up Media sponsor for over a month now, and we've been covering all of the different guests that they had at the convention, the Lazy Gaming guys, other members from nerdupmedia.com, and then I also went. I actually met up with Scott from Lazy Gaming Guys on Saturday. We played some Super Smash Brothers. But Mythicon was a convention focusing on internet stars, voice actors, and anime. Lots of merchandise and a ton of panels as well.
Yeah, like big-ass Laprases that somebody didn't buy somebody else.
I may or may not have seen a giant plush of Lapras that I did not get for Kelly.
You clearly do not know me at all. I was slaving away at work trying to earn some money in the hot sun.
And I also may have seen a giant Snorlax that not only you, but Rick from the Read Pile and Those Two Jerks podcast will be upset to hear about.
Damn it, Danny.
That's his favorite Pokemon ever,
you
Snorlax.
You clearly don't know me. If it's 151, just buy it for me. Just buy it.
I have to make some sacrifices as well.
Like what? Like giant Lapras sacrifices?
They could lift a giant Lapras. I saw a bunch of Pikmin plushes.
Adorable.
They range from all the colors, the red, yellow, and blue. They even had the little white ones and the giant purple ones. And I was like, shit, how much are these? And he's like, $15 each, except for that white one. That one's $12. I'm like, that's still a ton of money. That's like $60 for all of them, over 60.
How much was the Lapras?
I didn't check. I didn't check on the prices
Worth
on
it.
them. They
this
also
is
had
105. Worth it.
The same stand had like a Yoshi plush egg.
Why?
And the life-size Togepi.
You can... What?
That's not 151.
What color is my hair?
Red.
What can I dress up as for conventions? If only I had a fucking Togepi, I could be Misty all the time. But no, you are never allowed to go to conventions without me. Ever. Ever.
You could have gone on Friday.
I didn't want to go by myself. That's weird. Do you know what happens to girls who go to conventions by themselves?
This is a safe convention. I'm sure Mythicon, our sponsors, would not allow anything bad to happen at the convention.
Well, I know nothing bad would happen, but there's the guys and they...
That is your stereotyping.
I am. Dan, why? do you not care about me? You clearly don't know me at all.
Mythicon also had some really good panels. We saw I actually went to the Eric Stewart panel, who is the voice of Brock, and I found out James from Pokemon. He did both of the voices. I met him at the table. We talked a little bit. He was selling like his different CD sets because he's trying to... He is actually doing like a one-man band thing. He's going on concert, playing instruments, and he's doing the voice acting thing as well as voiceovers for commercials, which at the panel I learned... He's like 2 TV spots paid for all of the shit I did on Pokemon. So he was pretty much like, fuck Pokemon in the ass. It's all about the commercials, you asshole. Stop asking me about Brock. And at one point he did say, he's like, look, this is a panel for people that want to get into voice acting. And that doesn't mean that you can ask questions about which was my favorite line as Brock. Those are great, but we're here to talk about the career of voice acting. And I'm like, yeah, all of you in here. I was totally not going to ask anything Brock-related.
You were going to ask something Brock-related.
But he was a really nice guy, and he actually did this spot for us here on The Reasons I'm Broke.
Hey, this is Brock from Pokemon.
And James from Pokemon. And you're listening to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast.
Which is one of my favorites. Why? Because so many girls listen to it. Which is unlike me, because no girls listen to me.
I don't know what you mean. All the girls listen to me, especially Jessie, though she still has yet to help me capture Pikachu.
It's amazing!
Yeah, Garrett from the comic book shop, he asked, are you guys going to use this all the time now?
Yes. Yes, we will.
Every now and again. Yeah,
If only I
we'll
had
use
a giant Lapras to hold while we played that for our podcast, and a Togepi. I would have given you money.
Cat bug must not be enough for you then.
No, I mean, there was Puppycat.
Puppycat, I'm sorry.
But, I mean, a Lapras and a life-size Togepi would have been like birthdays and Christmases for the next 3 years. Done. But now I want diamonds.
I guess the one diamond on your ring wasn't enough. It starts off,
Well,
that's a message. As soon as you get married, they start asking for more.
I actually have a lot of diamonds on my finger.
So don't ask for more.
I just wanted a Lapras. But it sounds like it was a fantastic convention. Hopefully I get the chance to go next year. Work was just work.
Whatever the next convention we end up going to, which might end up being MegaCon, I hope to get another voice actor or voice actress to record another spot for The Reasons I'm Broke. That way we can do a variety of voice actors that we can use instead of just Eric Stewart, who did a great job.
Oh, yeah,
I loved it.
amazing.
All I told him was, this is The Reasons I Broke podcast, which he needed to repeat like 3 times because it's kind of a long title. But he got it, and he just ran with it. He did the James thing with Brock, and it was so funny. I was trying not to laugh while he was recording.
I still say you should have crow-gunked him.
Yes, I should have. That didn't even come to mind. It's one of those things when you meet a voice actor, you get a little bit starstruck where whatever things you wanted to tell them, it disappears. It's gone.
Exactly.
It happens every time. Like when we met Amanda and Jimmy, same exact thing.
Oh, they were great, though. Jimmy was like the most fun person ever.
Yeah. But now we can move on to some video game news. Thanks a lot, Mythicon. Hopefully we'll do this again next year.
So, first up, Europeans will be receiving 2 new 2DS bundles. The first will be a Groudon, and the second is a Kyrogi. You know what? The blue and the red one.
The blue whale and the red rock monster.
No, it's a red dinosaur, Dan.
Red dinosaur volcano.
That's the parent answers to all of this. They will be themed 2DSs that will be available November 7th as standalone systems and on November 28th as bundles with Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Granted, they are digital versions of the game.
Worth it.
But still, it's built in there.
Why not?
If any game you do want to own in a portable form, it is Pokemon, because you're always going to jump right back into it. At any time, someone could have their Pokemon with them, and they may want to do a trade or a battle, and you don't have your cartridge with you. But Pokemon and Smash Brothers as well. Super Smash Brothers, holy shit. If that was the only way to get it, I would still get it, because that's one game that is going to stay in my 2DS, or my 3DS.
Do they have Soul Silver on download?
Not yet.
Ah, damn it. Because that's one that I would download, because, okay guys, cartridges get lost. And then you end up spending twice as much for the same game. But it's worth it, so you do it.
Well, they were bringing out DS games on the Wii U. So you use the television as the top screen and the controller as the bottom screen.
No, I don't even like that.
You don't like that at all?
No, I don't like that at all.
I remember when we first covered that they were doing this, we were like, oh, it's totally awesome. It's great. And most people were like, it should be on portable immediately. It's like,
I don't
guys,
remember
they're
any of
re-releasing the DS games. Like, that's a good thing.
Yes, but I like handhelds more than I like systems. Because handhelds, I can sit at the coffee shop and play my game. Systems, I gotta sit in my bed, and then I fall asleep.
Do you think these bundles will be coming to North America?
Oh, yeah, probably. With how well it sells here, yes. Absolutely.
That's one way that they can really move the 2DS systems.
Well, it'll move the system, and people will probably buy that and then buy the other game. So that they have both games.
Super Smash Brothers and Pokemon?
Well, both Pokemons. Why not?
Yeah.
Buy both Pokemons.
Here's something I do want to touch up on. Ruby was the more popular of the two when those games first came out.
Because everybody wanted the rock dinosaur fire thing.
And I thought my streak of picking the least popular Pokemon game, which I didn't do on purpose, like the last one, I was just like, oh, Y's Pokemon looks way cooler. And then everyone was getting Y. And then at the last minute when they announced Charizard X, everyone switched their reserve over to Pokemon X, and I was like, holy shit, I guess it continues. Well, it happened again with Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. I thought Ruby would be, once again, the more popular of the two versions. It turns out Sapphire has more pre-orders than Ruby, and I don't know why. I don't know.
Because the blue whale looks way cooler than the red dinosaur.
If Broquettes out there can let me know, what is more appealing to you for Sapphire over Ruby?
The blue whale.
The blue whale.
The blue... Ooh,
we have a blue whale. It's a whalelord.
Well, that's different. Of course, there is like a whalelord wall in this game. That was pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a whalelord wall. You don't remember?
No.
Oh, there is a whalelord wall. Anyway, I don't know. The blue whale's way cooler. I got Sapphire the first time too, because the blue whale was cooler.
Next, we'll move on to some movie news. We saw Kevin Smith's Tusk movie.
Spooky.
It was spooky for the first third of it.
And then it was not spooky anymore.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it spoiler-free because it is still out in 600 locations throughout the U.S.
Awesome. Good job, Kevin Smith.
But if not, he's already made deals with Netflix to bring it on there and on demand.
I think it was worth seeing. One thing that I really liked about it, but I think kind of hindered it, you definitely see Kevin Smith's humor in it. So there's a lot of parts where it's funny, but it's trying to be spooky at the same time. And I'm just like, I'm kind of scared, but I'm going to laugh anyway.
Yeah, I thought the first third was filmed really well. Like, he had some really cool shots in there. Like, when you first see the reveal of the house that Justin Long arrives to, like, it was great. The atmosphere that he set up between Justin Long's character and then the old man.
Spooky man. Howard
Howe. Those scenes were awesome. Like, I loved it. Michael Parks killed it in that role. But then once they do the reveal of the walrus, that's when the movie just completely goes into like a comedy. And the thing is, it's not like it's not on purpose. It's not like, oh, well, they showed the walrus and it looks goofy, so I can't take this movie seriously. It's Kevin Smith as well, with the writing, the tone of it, the way he filmed it. It all goes comedy completely. And with Johnny Depp's character, he's just a drunk investigator the whole time. He's funny.
He was great.
But it clashes with the setup that he made in the first 45 minutes.
Right. I can see why he made those decisions, though. It seemed like a lot of the things he chose to do were based off his podcast. They were kind of all inside jokes, which is great for a fan. It's awesome that he included that. But I think if he had stuck with the theme of the first third, it would appeal more to people who haven't ever heard his podcast, or like me, who don't listen to it a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton in there for Smodcast listeners, but I didn't feel like it was distracting at all. Like, the couple of things that I didn't catch initially, like with Ralph Garman and the ringtone for his telephone, that is another reference to Hollywood Babylon. And I was just like, okay, that's just ringtone, it's kind of funny. But I didn't feel like, oh, is that from something? And that's right. I felt that was done right. The special effects were pretty good for a lower budget film. And it's a good thing that it was lower budget, because it hasn't been doing like too good in the box office. I don't think it broke 1 million over the weekend. But it was only in 600 locations. And he gets a credit from Canada for filming in Canada. So the $4 million that he spent filming it, it's really only $3 million plus whatever deals he made with Netflix and the DVD, and then whatever he ends up making from the theater sales.
Right. He'll make his money back. It'll all catch up, especially when it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray and, Netflix and all that stuff. He's going to get all his fans who are supporting him, which is awesome. Yeah,
so if you're big into Kevin Smith, I'd say check it out, because there's a lot of references there, a lot of jokes that you'll understand. Other than that, I still think Red State is his best movie since Clerks. That's my own opinion. It was really good. And this one could have been up there as well if he had just kept the tone all throughout. But you know what? It gave way for a new movie, which is called Yoga Hosers. Stars his daughter, Harley Quinn, and Johnny Depp's daughter as well. And it ties in a little bit to Tusk. It's in the same universe. So if anything, it got me really excited to see that.
Yep, me as well. Especially with those particular characters that we saw.
Yes.
But definitely check it out, guys. I thought it was worth the money.
And we've got some Warner Brothers news here, which means we're excited, obviously.
Means Batman. So Warner Brothers is closing a deal with director David Ayer for a Suicide Squad movie.
David Ayer has previously directed End of Watch, SWAT, and the first Fast and the Furious movie.
So there will be cars and guns. What's End of Watch about?
It's another action movie. I believe it had Jake Gyllenhaal in it. But that means that it's going to be big on action,
Right.
big on I think it's going to be similar to that animated movie we saw where there's going to be some kind of plan that they have to carry out and, it'll be funny along the way.
Play music like, now, 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 now. Now, 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 now. Isn't that what they played in that movie?
Yeah, basically.
Pretty much. So it is rumored to be one of the placeholder dates for the upcoming DC movies, which would make sense.
Yep. No solid release date yet until we find out what the rest of that schedule of DC movies is. Which one of which we know is Shazam and Wonder Woman, Batman v Superman, probably a Batman standalone movie, a true Man of Steel sequel.
Probably Aquaman. I would put an Aquaman movie in there too.
Yep.
Just ask Kevin Conroy. He'll tell us.
Yeah, yes, he will. Which Suicide Squad members do you think will be used in this live-action film?
Harley Quinn.
Absolutely, I think.
Which scares me. Oh, it scares me so much. So Harley Quinn, Slade Wilson, Deadshot.
Deadshot I can definitely see in there.
Yes, Deadshot will be in there. I really hope Black Manta's in there. But
that would be awesome.
I don't know. But
if they're using Aquaman,
it would be great. It would be great if they had Black Manta in this one, right? And you have Aquaman in Batman v Superman, and then that would just lead way to an Aquaman movie. Done.
That would be pretty awesome.
Done. I just wrote their movie right there. Wrote it all. Plot, climax, ending. Done.
Yeah, Harley Quinn has to be in this because that is a guarantee. People will come out to see the movie just for Harley Quinn. Put her on the front of the poster. Put her in most of the trailers. Money. Her and Deadpool.
I would love to see Killer Frost in there.
Yeah, me too.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I don't really want to see Boomerang Man.
They should put in Livewire because that way we can sell this Action Comics number 835 that I've been trying to sell for almost half a year now. A couple of speculators came into the shop and they bought Action Comics number 835 and I refilled it with the bins and it was a Gail Simone book. And then those ended up selling as well. I'm like, why the fuck is this book still selling? Why just the Gail Simone? At first I assumed it was just a Gail Simone thing. And then I look it up on eBay and it was going for $10 at the time. So it's like, well, fuck these guys. They're going up to $10 then. It's the first appearance of Livewire, who started out in Superman the Animated Series. So like Harley Quinn, she started out in the Bruce Timm cartoons, moved on to the Superman Adventures comic, and then moved on to Action Comics 835. So speculators think, well, she might be the next Harley Quinn simply because she had a similar origin. I don't know.
I never really liked her, but
if she's in the movie, I can finally sell the 5 copies we have at the shop.
But yes, Harley will definitely be in there. That scares me a lot, but she will be there.
I don't think it'll be the New 52 costume.
I really
don't think
hope
that's
not.
too practical.
I would be way okay if they used the one from the Suicide Squad movie, the animated one.
Or even the one from the video games would be better than the New 52 outfit.
Yeah. I'd be okay with either of those.
But of course, we want the Bruce Timm designed classic outfit.
They're not putting that in there.
I wish they would, though.
I would love to see them make a nod to it, but they're not putting it in there.
Have the outfit in the back or something.
Right. They're going to give her something more badass with leather and darker colors. So you're not going to have bright red against black. You're going to have kind of a maroon with black. It's going to have the diamonds, but it's going to be something really badass.
She'll probably also be the sex appeal to the movie as well.
Yeah, of course. She'll be naked somewhere in there.
It is a little scary to see who they'll cast for that.
It's very scary for me. One, because it's never been done. Mm-hmm. When they cast someone new for Batman, if I don't like them, I'm like, well, this is my true Batman. This is scary for me. This is going to a new school.
Did you know Harley Quinn was initially set? She was in the script for the Batman and Robin sequel, the Joel Schumacher one, played by Madonna.
Oh, what if they pick Lady Gaga?
Oh, no.
You know, she's been in a few things, though, and she hasn't been that bad.
What was she in last time?
I don't know. Was she in Sin City?
Yeah, that's what it was. She was in Sin City.
I didn't think she was that bad. And I've seen her in something else, too.
She was the diner lady
in
Sin City.
She was also in Machete.
Yeah, she was. On Netflix, Machete 2.
Lady Gaga can play Harley Quinn.
I disagree. Absolutely not. It'll do well. We'll check it out.
Of course.
Suicide Squad's heating up. Deathstroke is a very popular character right now. He should be in there. And then we'll see how the people react. If I were them, I'd see how the Suicide Squad movie did, which characters were the most popular. And you can even do more spin-offs off of just the Suicide Squad movie, like a Harley Quinn movie or a Deathstroke movie. One last question I do have before we move on to the TV show we want to cover. Do you think there'll be any references to the Joker with Harley Quinn, if Harley Quinn is in Suicide Squad? Do you think we've moved on far enough from the Heath Ledger Joker that you can mention the Joker again in a movie?
Yes, absolutely. They will definitely reference the Joker, and they will not have Heath Ledger Joker in mind. They've already kind of restarted the whole everything.
The DC movie universe, yeah.
They've already restarted all of that. So, for the most part, the Batman Begins and all that should be completely separate in everybody else's mind. That trilogy should not even coincide with anything that they're doing now.
Cool.
So continuing on with our DC news, we had the premiere of Gotham this week. We finally saw it like 3 days late, but we made it.
Yes, we did. So our thoughts before we move into what some of the Brocat listeners out there thought. First episode, it was a pilot.
It was a pilot. That it was. Definitely was a first episode and a pilot.
It's about 45 minutes long, which I like. I like the length of the series, the episode. They can take their time with the pacing of each scene, especially if it's Gotham-centric with the police department. If you're going to focus on them, you got to take your time with what they're finding, where they're going, how they're arguing within themselves. So that I do enjoy. It's the perfect time and the perfect length for any Batman fan.
It was a good number of minutes. That's what I just heard. I appreciated the number of minutes. I thought they had a lot of good ideas. It is difficult because they introduce everybody in this first episode. You have Bruce and Alfred and all of them, and you have everybody at the GCPD and everybody. All the big crime lords that we're going to see at least for this first arc. And that's good and it's bad because it's good because I'm excited for what's coming next. I'm like, oh, this person's in there. Awesome. I can't wait to see how that develops. But it's bad at the same time because I felt like they were trying to shove so much at me. Like, look at what we can do. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, calm down. You have a whole series. You can introduce them later.
Yeah, Rick from the Read Pile and those two jerks had the same objections. And for me, it was a bit much. But I don't feel like they're going to do that every single episode. I kind of feel like this first one was
they won't.
Set up like, here's what we're going to cover in the first season. And we're going to see how they develop. The first arc will focus on Catwoman and the Penguin, is what I got out of this first episode.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I will say, though, and I'm calling this right now, episode 106, I'm calling this. Somewhere in there, and I don't think I'm giving anything away, there will be a line about penguins and fish.
Oh, because the main crime lady.
The crime lady's name is Fish Mooney. There will be a line about penguins eating fish or some kind of crap like that.
Like a one-liner. Yeah, yes, probably.
There will be. And I'm calling it now. When I'm right, you can all bow to me and say I'm correct.
I did like that Bruce still did that girly scream after his parents died. I laughed because I'm like, that wasn't just in the trailer. It's actually in the episode. What'd you think? Let's stick with those two right now. What'd you think of Alfred and Bruce?
I thought it was really sweet. It's so funny. I love the way they're portraying Alfred now as a father figure for Bruce. He understands what Bruce is going through, but that doesn't mean that Bruce can do whatever the hell he wants.
He's also the Batman Earth 1 Alfred. I felt like it was a tougher Alfred.
Right.
Also a Beware the Batman Alfred. He has the same accent as that character. Mm-hmm. And I really like that because it does do something different than the movies while still making its own Alfred.
Right. So yes, I definitely like that dynamic there. What did you think of Catwoman?
We didn't see a lot out of her, but I thought she did a good job. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we need to see what kind of scenes she actually acts out and hear a couple of lines. But so far, it was pretty good. Mm-hmm.
I was very concerned because she is so young. And I was kind of like, how are they going to pull this off? Because Catwoman's always a woman. Mm-hmm. She's, but I thought they handled her character very well. Definitely, I think she's one of my favorite characters in this, actually. Even though we saw so little of her, she was so interesting.
Yeah, and it's so focused on her and Bruce already, which of course you like.
Yes! They're gonna be in love. They're gonna be in love since the babies.
Until he grows up and finds a real woman, Talia.
You mean real Catwoman, who's still the same lady. They can just be in love forever, even from when they're little kids. And then they can just grow up together and be in love together, get married together, have Helena together.
The two characters that I did not like out of these two were the Riddler. I thought he was a little too on the nose with his comments.
You mean walking up and being like, what's this and this?
What is like this, but is like this. It's like, all right, that's enough. You couldn't just leave it at Edward Nigma. Nope. You have to start doing the riddles. And then the other was actually Barbara Kane, I believe was her name. That's Gordon's wife.
Barbara Keene.
Did not care. Like, it's just the pretty face they hired.
Except that scene with the other cop.
Yeah, if you haven't, yes. If you haven't seen the episode, this is a minor spoiler, but it seems like they are alluding to the fact that she may or may not have had a relationship with Renee Montoya. Mm-hmm. And I love that Renee Montoya's in this also.
Yes,
that is another thing I love.
That made me very happy.
And my favorite thing of the whole show so far, and I think that's probably going to be what carries me throughout the entire season, and it's going to get me to watch the entire show, is actually Bullock. Mm-hmm. I thought Harvey Bullock was great. He was still all for justice, but he bent the rules, just like in the animated series and in the comics. And he was also an asshole, and that's who Harvey Bullock is. And the casting was spot on for this. Like, even when we first saw the picture, the set photos were like, that looks exactly like Harvey Bullock. And now he can actually do the role, and I love that. I like him more than Gordon in this.
Yeah, Gordon, I'm like, okay, Gordon.
You don't even have a mustache yet.
You're not even a ginger. Like, come on, Gordon. How's your kid gonna be a ginger if you're not even a ginger?
Maybe it turns red as he grows the mustache.
As he gets, like, more blood spilled on him.
Just stains it.
I did really like Penguin in this, too, though.
Yeah, I thought Penguin was great.
For me, it's a very different take on Penguin. But I did really like his character as I'm watching it. I'm like, this is a great origin for Penguin, for how he became, who he's eventually going to become. I even really liked, I don't know, the actor's nose. Like, yeah. Did they just go out and they're like, you must have this nose to play this part? Like, it's my favorite part of that character was his nose.
I think it's definitely a prosthetic, but it's done so well.
Yeah, it is. I thought he could have been born with that nose.
And the last thing, too, is the scenery, the scenes. You can tell it was not a cheap show to make. Like, they took the time to make this actually look like Gotham. It's not just, oh, well, that's New York City. No, when they do the panning shots and all the different rooftop building shots, it all, like, that looks like Gotham. Like right. A TV show Gotham. It's great.
One thing I've heard about this, and I hope that other people catch on to it, is a lot of people are liking it for the fact that it's a cop show. But it's not your stereotypical cop show. So even though it's called Gotham, and obviously these characters are from the comics, the Batman universe, you could believe that this is just a typical cop show. I
absolutely agree. It is like the Gotham Central book, but put out into a TV show.
Yes.
Loved it. I think that's the most important thing you covered right there, is that this is a story of the cops and not of Batman. Like, they are doing good things out there, and they're working hard, while in the future Batman will, take down the bigger enemies that are looking to destroy all of Gotham. Mm-hmm. So with that, we can move on to what some of you guys thought.
From Twitter, @justafigment84 said, so watch the premiere tonight. Think I'm going to keep with it. Can't wait to hear what y'all think.
Next one is also on Twitter, @IrishOnFire31. Simply too early to be judging yet. I'll say the episode was kinda uneven, and it will be a hard road being in Batman's shadow.
I would agree with that. And finally, also from Twitter, @Evangelisterine said, tons of potential with an exciting direction. The casting of Harvey Bullock was an excellent choice. #stay tuned.
Yeah, great comments on Twitter. Thank you so much for sharing. Hope you enjoyed the shout out. And if you want to let us know what happened on Gotham, we'll continue on as the season continues with episode 2 on Twitter @ReasonsI'mBroke.
So moving on to some Marvel news. Milo Manera's variant covers for Avengers and X-Men Axis #1 and Thor #2 have been canceled by Marvel.
Yeah, they initially didn't give any reasons for that, but we all know what it is. Spider-Woman #1 variant, which is still set to release, they did not cancel that, but they did cut down on his 2 other upcoming jobs.
They went, oh, people don't like this. No. So Marvel is like the clique of mean girls in high school.
It's definitely interesting. They eventually said that it was a scheduling conflict.
Okay. The schedule is you don't work here anymore, so you can't release these.
For any long-time listeners, you know where we stand on this. We were like, don't get the variant, just get the main cover. If it's a big deal, you don't like the cover, just get the other one. We do that all the time when we pick up our indie books. We look through both covers. We're like, you know what, we like this one more. We said the same thing about the Powerpuff Girls variant, which was cover B. That was the 50, I think the fifth 1 and 2 variant, so 50% of the covers were like that. And even then, we were like, just get the cover A.
Right.
This one was just a limited variant, which will sell because of all the controversy now. We're going to completely sell out. But now the man has those variant jobs gone.
That's horrible. But, they do what they want to do.
We don't know the details. Maybe it is that they told him to draw these 2 covers a certain way and he didn't want to, so he decided to step down. Or it could just be that Marvel said, let's avoid the controversy and just not have him on board for the variant covers. I don't think it's fair. It kind of sucks.
Unless they wrote him a large check with multiple zeros.
And we did have a question of the week from Broket at Mac the Murderer on Twitter, who asked, what's the frugal way to get into comics?
Draw your own.
It is an awesome question. That is one I get all the time at the comic book shop as well. People want to read, the latest Batman, the latest Avengers, Spider-Man, but it is $4 an issue, sometimes $3 if you're lucky. And over the course of a year, that is a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It's also a trip to the comic book shop. It's buying storage, cardboard boxes, and the bags and boards to keep them all in. So what are some ways in which a casual reader can, read the latest Batman? You can go ahead if you want to.
Trade paperbacks.
Exactly.
Amazing. Easiest way. They're usually run about $15 a piece.
15 to 25. And you get about 7 to 13 issues depending on the book and the size of it.
Right. But these are great. They come out about every 6 months, which is a long time to wait, but it's so much cheaper. In those 6 months at $4 a month, you have a considerable amount more than $15. And then you don't have to worry about all the storage, all the bags and boards. You have everything right there in one book. We have tons of them. We buy the single issues and then we buy the trade again.
Yeah, I'm pulling out one of the trades here from our shelf. This one is Batman Court of Owls trade paperback volume 1. The soft covers will always be cheaper than the hard covers. Remember that. But this also means that they're going to release the hard covers before the soft covers. I always say, and this is what we do, we always wait for the soft covers.
Right.
Because they're cheaper and it's the exact same story. I think they fit better on shelves as well because the hard covers are different sizes between different publishers. This first trade with Batman is $16.99 and it contains issues 1 through 7. So that's about...
a little over $2 an issue.
A little over $2 an issue.
So about half price.
Normally they're $4, exactly. And in this way, you have the entire story in one trade paperback, all 7 issues. For this one in particular, it was split among a second trade, but still, you have more story in one sitting than if you were to read one comic, wait a month, read the next part of the book. The whole story here, it's cheaper, it's more practical because some of these stories do actually work better as a trade, and the latest is out in trade paperback form. The second way that you can catch up on comics is actually through Comixology. If you don't, we care about the digital comics. We prefer our books in our hands. We like the physical media better. But if that doesn't matter to you, if you have an iDevice, an Android phone, or even a tablet or a computer, you can actually go to Comixology.com, and they always have sales every week for 99-cent issues. A lot of the times it will be New 52 stuff or all new Marvel Now, and you can try out the first issue. That's a good way because you can buy that $1 book, read that first issue and say, you know what, I really like the way the story starts and the artwork and where this is going. Now I can buy the trade paperback knowing full well that this is going to be a good book. But honestly, what you mentioned earlier today about it being 6 months later, you have tons of reviews at that point. Trade paperbacks, or even ask us, like, what is the best? And we'll be more than happy to let you know where you can start.
We have a list.
Yes, we do.
A list. Keeping up with the new stuff is great, too. But you can also go back to some older comics. The Killing Joke is great. That one's been out for a while. The Dark Knight. Like, there's tons of older books that you can probably find pretty good deals on. Go on eBay. Someone might be selling a used one for cheaper that they, wife told them they had to get rid of on their comic.
And that happens a lot. I see it all the time, every week.
But you can probably find something a little bit cheaper there, too. Some of the older stories are great.
So that is our recommendation for the best way, most frugal, is trade paperbacks. Soft covers always, remember that.
Fan fiction, too. You can read some fan fiction.
If you have any other tips, you can send a tweet over to Mac the Murder. That's MacDamurderer on Twitter.
Finally, in our news, we got a fantastic iTunes review from @ID771054.
He or she said, "It's a great comic book, movie, video game podcast. You two are perfect together. I have only listened to 2, but they were funny and entertaining. You covered my favorite movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, which was great. I would recommend this, 10 out of 10.
Aw, thank you.
Very nice of you, at ID771054. Thank you so much for the review. We'll absolutely read your review over the air. Leave us a review on Stitcher or on iTunes. We'll give you a shout out on the air. And we're really glad you're enjoying the show.
And we are perfect together. Thank you. Dan's like, I'm going to go now.
And I'm glad he enjoyed our thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy, too.
And that will actually do it for our news this week. We can move into our comic books, my favorite part of the whole podcast. So first up, we're going to start out with our indie books. We have Bee and Puppycat number 4. This is written and illustrated by,
You got the list of the long names.
Why didn't you stop me? Okay, this is written and illustrated by Anissa Espinosa, T. Zisk, Mad Rupert, who, good job, Mad Rupert, always angry at things, Coleman Ingle, Amy Fleck, and Pranas Naujokatis.
Naujokatis, yeah. Naujokj, I'm sorry, Aitis. That is a tough one.
That is a tough one. And the colorist is Whitney Kogar. Now you may continue. Puppycat has allowed it.
Still absolutely adoring this series.
Yes. It's amazing.
We ended up getting the variant cover in which Puppycat is blowing away a rat, a little mouse. And I love that cover because we watched the show and it was awesome. And then we got another cover which has Bee playing on an arcade machine.
And Puppycat being angry.
Always angry, I love it.
He is always angry. In every single page he's angry. Even when he's being an asshole and enjoying it, he's angry.
This is made up of about 5 short stories, little strips. And I enjoyed every single one of them. Like, I didn't think one was, just whatever, like we sometimes get with Bravest Warriors.
They were all great, very lighthearted. The thing I really like about this, so Natasha Allegri's done everything pretty much up until this point, which is great. I love her storytelling and her art. But even though this was all different people telling their stories, I felt like they were all very true to character. Yes. There wasn't a single story I read where I was like, Puppycat doesn't look angry enough. I felt it was all very true to the characters, and that's what I like the most about it. And
it was really funny. It was hilarious. I was laughing so much reading this. Haven't laughed this much since the Teen Dog number 1.
Oh, Teen Dog was great.
But I would recommend watching the show before you read the comic. Just head on over to YouTube, Bee and Puppycat.
It'd be great with this Puppycat.
What?
Big old Lapras.
But if you had to choose one, which one would you pick? Exactly.
You cannot choose between your children. You love them both equally.
That is not true, and you know that.
It's true. Every parent has their favorite.
Next is Bravest Warriors number 24, written by Kate Leth and Matt Rupert, art by Ian McGinty and Carrie Peach, and colors by Lisa Moore.
Good job, Matt Rupert. You're doing a lot this week. This is my pass of the week.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Not my pass of the week.
Really? This is my pass of the week.
They finally finished the 2 arcs that they were working on. The first one went on for about 3 to 4 issues. I more enjoyed this because we finally get an end to Robo Chris, which scared the shit out of me. And he finally gets put away somewhere where he cannot get me. Far away, where he will be destroyed. And that was a great ending to this arc. Like, the rest of the arc was really rocky, but they really knocked it out at the end.
Only because Robo Chris is gone. The reason I did not like this one is in the show and in a lot of the comic, they were going on this whole thing about Chris becoming the Emotion Lord, which was great. It was a lot of self-discovery for him, and you got to see a lot with him and Beth, and there was all this angst of are they going to be together? And then we had this arc, which was and then we get to this issue and they're like, and it's over. That's it. We don't see anything about Emotion Lord. You see Beth trying to save Chris, but is that a friend or is that someone who wants to be more than a friend? You don't really understand. This issue really made it seem like there was something between Beth and Plum, too.
Yeah.
Made it seem a lot like that.
The backup story was probably the part of the book that I didn't like as much. That's where they're stuck on a planet, racing on animals, and the animals say, hey, set us free, and we promise we'll help you escape. It was just, not much happened.
But they turned into a giant robo-gazelle.
Yeah, and it looked kind of cool with the sunglasses, sure. But I more enjoyed the first part to it, with Robo-Chris getting his own, and confronting Catbug.
That's all you care about is Robo-Chris. Catbug was great, because Robo-Chris is like, hey, give me that. And he's like, no.
So your pass of the week.
Yep, my pass of the week
is Cartoon Network Super Secret Crisis War number 4 of 6.
This one's written by Louise Simonson with art by Derek Charm. They fight.
Yeah, it was kind of a filler issue, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. A little bit more develops with Mojo Jojo and how he's going to end up helping the heroes in the end, which I do like. I always enjoy when the characters that you don't expect to come out as the hero end up helping out a lot. But otherwise,
they fight.
That was it.
They go, oh, we can beat these robots easily, but not really. And then they go, oh, we wanted you to beat them easily, but not really. Now we can make them better. Bend to our will or we'll explode things. That was the comic there. Done.
Basically, my pass of the week.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It was close to mine, but I expect more from Bravest Warriors. That's why Bravest was my pass. Next up, we have Lumberjanes number 6. This one's written by Grace Ellis and Noelle Stevenson, with art by Brooke Allen, and colorist is Marta Lyhow.
I liked last month's issue more.
Me too, but this one was still a lot of funny. I liked how they incorporated... The thing about this book is I forget that they're just regular campers sometimes. They're just away at summer camp. And this one kind of brought me back to that, because it starts out with something that everybody does at summer camp. And that was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, you see what the villain for this first little arc is going to be and what powers she has, which was fine.
She's not really a villain, though.
Well, she was made out to be at the end of the last issue,
yes.
A little bit. And
yes,
then she kind of did go up against the Lumberjanes. But something I did like about the book is that they took something normal, like you mentioned, at summer camp, which was essentially like, not capture the flag.
Yeah, they were playing Capture the Flag.
Okay, Capture the Flag. Mm-hmm. And they gave it like a real crazy spin to it. And that's probably what I enjoyed most about it. I never went camping as a kid, but I can absolutely catch on immediately to everything.
I used to go to summer camp. I went for like 3 or 4 years every summer, and it's just the greatest thing ever. And I was a staff kid. Man, if any of you have been to summer camp and you know those staff kids, those are the ones you were jealous of. Because we got to do whatever the hell we wanted. Like, all those campers, they had to be in bed by 9. I was just riding my bike around. Like, can't stop me now. They had to be at the cafeteria at a certain time. I'd show up like, give me some of that pizza. Don't gotta pay for nothing. It was great.
Were you the teacher's pet as well?
Yeah.
Figures.
You know what? Nobody wanted to be my friend when I was younger, Dan. The teacher was my friend.
Grades all that matters.
You know? My grades weren't that great, but...
Oh, well, I don't know then.
Well, no, I guess my grades were good. Out of like the 12 people in my class.
Next is Red Sonja number 12, written by Gail Simone, art by Walter Giovanni, colors by Adriano Lucas.
Good job, Gail Simone. Amazing.
Killed it.
Amazing. Almost my pick of the week. This was a great book. We see the conclusion of Sonja getting all these different... The people who are the greatest artists, I guess is what he called them, essentially.
Yeah, they call them like the greatest artists, but they're considering like a cook an artist, which I guess they are because they work with their hands and they make this product that appeals to one of our senses, actually more than one. And then they have a dancer, then they have someone that physically looks great, stargazer, so someone that's...
a whore, Dan. You can call her a whore. That's what she was. And then someone who tames animals.
All of this so that this king can have his greatest party ever before he dies, because he is sick and dying.
Mm-hmm. And
will he... Yeah.
He says if Sonja brings them all to him, he will free the slaves. You can all guess what happens.
She brings all the people, and the king frees the slaves, and they all go home.
They all live a wonderful life. This was great, though. It was wonderful for me to see Sonja like this, because she's very tough, and you really see those walls come down in this issue.
Even when you think that she's being pampered to, you can tell even by the way Walter Giovanni draws her that she really doesn't like being in that clothing and the formality. She hates it, and I that's so charming to me for the character. And then the way that she resolved it with the big message about friendship and these characters that we got attached to in just a small number of issues. She crafted that really well. My pick of the week.
Really? It was a great book. I can see how that's your pick of the week. It was wonderful.
I think initially that was her final book before the next arc. But now we have her coming up in another couple of issues, and I can't wait.
Wonderful. Next on our list, we have Saga number 23. This is written by Brian K. Vaughan with art by Fiona Staples.
I should have opened this episode by saying, welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons why Saga is Kelly's book for pick of the week. I'm Daniel, and that is Kelly over there, who will say that Saga number 23 is her pick of the week.
You don't know me. You didn't buy me a Lapras. Clearly you don't know me.
I obviously know you some because this
you
deny that this is your pick of the week.
I'm not denying anything. I'm just saying. In fact, I'm confirming that you don't know me because...
Tell me now or I will tweet to Kevin Conroy and he will tell me if this is your pick of the week.
Because Kevin Conroy knows too.
He knows all.
You know what? Why don't we ask the listeners? I'll finish this whole body. Fine, it's my pick of the week.
Yes, I knew it.
Only because it's been my pick of the week for the whole 23 issues that it's been doing the thing.
For the last over 23 months, it's been your pick of the month.
So for the last 2 years.
Unbelievable.
The longest streak in history. Because it's always my pick. Can you blame me?
It's a good book.
Can you blame me? I love this book.
It's a fine title.
I love this story. I love the characters. I say it every month and I'll say it again. Actually, it's been more than 2 years because they always take a break. Anyway, I say it every month and I will say it again. This book never lets me down.
Punk conk.
You leave Punk Conk alone! No, Punk Conk!
Yeah, it was a good issue. Really good issue. I think what I like most about this issue of Saga, and it continues to surprise me just like it continues to elevate the book for you every month, is that where you think the story is going to make a churn, it doesn't go there. It actually gives you something completely different, and I love that. You see in the last couple of issues that there's another budding romance supposedly happening between one of our main characters and a resident of this planet, and then it takes a completely different, more mature turn where it's not what you think is going to happen. He'll actually be an adult about this, and you're like, whoa, and you like this character more now, because initially you didn't, so it's just Saga playing with how much you like the characters.
Playing with your feelings.
Absolutely.
Just like that big Lapras did.
So yeah, it was a really good issue. Really good issue.
It was very good. I always feel like I'm rehashing when I talk about this book, because I always have the same feelings for it every single issue, which is phenomenal for me, because how many books can you really say that about? You know, there's always it'll be great for this arc, and then you always have that one issue where it's like, somebody else did it, and then you'll have great, but even in that great arc, there's still 1 or 2 issues that are clearly fillers. I have not felt a single filler for 2 years out of this book.
Eventually you're going to run out of great things to say about Saga, and that goes with everyone else out there, because I don't know anyone that does not like Saga.
Saga's great. All the characters, I feel for every single one of them. To me, they are all real, developed people. You can tell that the writers, Brian K. Vaughan, put so much thought into every single one of these characters. They all have a background. They're all different and have actual emotions that you would find from people. For example, Lana, our main protagonist, when Hazel is talking about, she writes that little side note on the way she feels about life.
Like her narration?
Yeah. Like, that's actual stuff that, people do. Like you said, Marco was so mature. That's the way that you would respond to that situation if you were in a legitimate, loving relationship. Stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, you guys, you get life. You understand people. And that's what's so great about it, is it breaks everybody down to what would people actually do in this situation. And it just narrates it perfectly.
They need to put everything you just said on the upcoming trade of Saga. Put a little hyphen, Kelli, from The Reasons I'm Broke. And that'll just be the big quote for the trade on the cover.
That was a long-ass quote.
But it told everything. It was a saga of a review.
It was a saga about Saga. Yes, guys, okay, this is my pick of the week every time it comes out. This will probably be my pick of the year every time it comes out. But the thing is, it felt like they wrote this entire story already. Mm-hmm. And you're just giving me little pieces of it, and there's no filler and there's no dragging. It's one thing after another, and I love every second of it.
Even if it were to falter once, you would still look at all these other fucking issues that were amazing.
To go 23 issues without, losing me once, even, man, and I'm gonna throw it out there again, I say this every time this book comes out, but there's still characters that we haven't seen for 6 months that I remember and care about. The Will, his creepy spider lady, that creepy ass little girl. Mm-hmm. You have those 2 gay reporters who aren't really gay, but they're gay. You have characters who died that I really care about. The one-eyed man who wrote those trashy love novels.
Yep.
Marco's dad. He's been gone for, a year? That creepy-ass giant gross thing with the things from the planet. Yes. I remember him. I remember that weird sun lady from the sex planet that died. And they were just in there for such a small amount of time. But between Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, everything is so memorable.
If you've heard all of this and you still haven't read Saga, there are 3 trades out currently.
Buy them all.
Working on the 4th one now.
Buy them all. You want a good book to start reading with comics? Get Saga.
And I think Saga Volume 1, I think it's $10. I could be wrong, but if not, it's at the most it's going to be $15.
Worth it.
And it is worth it. So is Batman. So those are the 2 trades that you should be getting. Batman Court of Owls and Saga Volume 1.
Okay, I've talked enough about Saga.
And that is being frugal, because those stories are worth way more than what you're paying.
Yes, absolutely.
You're getting a deal.
But if any of you like Saga as much as I do and you want to talk about it, please hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. I am more than happy to just talk to you about all the things that I like, because I haven't talked about them enough on the podcast. Everybody's skipping ahead like, is she fucking done yet?
I want to hear about Samurai Jack.
I'm sure that's what they're skipping to, is Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack, number 12, written by Jim Zub, art by Andy Suriano, and Ethan Beavers.
Let me see, Saga or Samurai Jack? Which one do I want to listen to?
This was good too, though. It was a good issue.
But it wasn't Saga.
Nothing will be Saga in your mind.
Ever.
Now this is Samurai Jack. He lost his... He has doubt, I guess, is what they're trying to say inside him. The sword that he used, and you see it in the show all the time, I'm assuming it's powered by his own will, sort of like a Green Lantern thing.
That's what they allude to at the end of this. This issue and the one before it, they're talking about how the sword has a spirit. And this creepy voodoo man does something so that the sword loses its spirit. And now Samurai Jack is like, oh, I'm nothing without my spirit sword.
Yeah, he has to go undercover because everyone is looking for him now. That Aku knows that he has no sword, the one weapon that can actually harm Aku. So Samurai Jack, and I love that it's going in this direction because it's now starting a new arc, which is what I wanted out of the Samurai Jack series. And it's going to be a self-discovery arc, and I love that. And you can do that perfectly with a character like Samurai Jack.
Of course, it'll be great. I think we'll have at least 2 or 3 more issues in this arc. Right now, it feels like he's at his lowest point. And I'm really hoping that they're going to let us see him discovering how to take on all this without that aid.
Yeah.
Next up is The Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors, number 20. This is written by Jay Torres, Max Davidson, why do you give me all the long ones? Jesse Leon McCann and Ian Boothby, with art by Hilary Barta, Tony Rodriguez, John Delaney, and James Lloyd. And finally, colorist is Art Villanueva. Villanueva, I'm sorry. And Nathan Hamill.
As Rick would call me, the king of Latin.
You are. Just give your whole review with your Spanish accent, and our ratings will go through the roof.
I get these every year, the Treehouse of Horrors. I love them. I think they're better than the regular Simpsons comics. And the next one we're going to get, aside from like the quarterly books, like the Winter Wingdings and the Summer Shindigs, McBain. McBain will have a book in December.
Oh, amazing.
Just in time for the holidays. McBain. And yep, it's in the newest previews catalog that just came out this week. Go to your local comic book shop. I think the previous catalog is about $5, thick as hell, and it has all the latest shit that's coming out in December and beyond. If you like zombies, this is the book for you.
That was my only complaint about this book, is every story was zombies.
I agree.
They were all great stories, very cute stories, but after the first 2, I'm like, okay, zombies.
We're already like over zombified with all the merchandise you see for Walking Dead everywhere. I work at a comic shop and just Walking Dead stuff all the time. And this one, the last couple of Treehouse of Horrors, they've switched it up. Like it'll be Rosemary's Baby in one story, and then it would be Frankenstein in the other, or Dracula. But this was all zombies. And I understand why, because zombies are really hot right now. Keep the cover at zombies, put 2 stories in there for zombies, maybe open and close with it, but then have something different in the middle. I feel like this Treehouse of Horrors is a way in which these creators can really stretch their muscles and really go beyond what they're confined to in terms of The Simpsons, and this book didn't really allow that.
Agreed. They did try to mix it up a little bit, like we had a zombie NATO.
Yeah.
They made fun of hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your husbands.
Little Plants vs. Zombies reference in there too.
Plants vs. Zombies. I mean, they were all cute stories, and like you said, I would have loved to have read every single one of them, but separated, not in one giant book.
Yeah, it was still very enjoyable, but that's the main complaint about it. Just more variety in next year's, hopefully. It's $4.99. A lot of stories, a lot of pages. I'm still glad we read it and bought it. So yeah, I get a long one next. It's our DC books. Adventures of Superman number 17, which I think this is the last one. We might have one more, but I'm pretty sure this is it. It's written by Jerry Ordway, Steve Niles, and Kelly Sue DeConnick. Art by Steve Rude, Matthew Dow Smith, and Valentin De Landro, with colors by Glenn Whitmore, Jordi Belair, and Matthew Wilson.
Now, I'd just like to point out that long one was way easier than all of my long ones, because those were all white people names.
Fine.
All mine, I had like the Russian name and the Hispanic names. Not fair.
So, The Adventures of Superman, does it end on a bang? Assuming it's the last one.
I liked it more than all the Superman Through Time.
I love that issue. That should have been the final one.
With the missing spaceship.
Love that.
Mummy Superman was there. That's what I got out of that book. Mummy/Hush Superman was in it.
And the first story arc for this issue, it has Omek making an appearance. It's a very classic style story for Superman. I feel like there are readers out there who would really get a lot out of this first little story.
Olmec from Legends of the Hidden Temple?
That would have been better.
You need the silver monkey, Superman.
Blue barracudas.
Don't go through the mystery. What was it called? What was the forest?
I don't remember what it was.
It was like the dark forest or the...
Those dumbass kids. They would always go a different path than what their partner went to. It's like, you idiot. You know that's a safe path. Why wouldn't you just follow them?
I always wanted to play it. I'm like, I would have been way better than these guys.
Yeah.
But I digress. So yes, Olmec shows up and there's a rowboat and they beat them.
That's basically it.
Very classic Superman.
The next story, which it was Superman fighting a ghost.
a literal ghost, yes.
Yep. And he just beats him through will and by ignoring him a little bit.
I thought the premise of the story was really good. I did really like the ideas they were trying to put forth. I wish it had been a scientific explanation for why he was there, rather than he's a ghost. Mm-hmm. And he's pissed off.
Right. The art was probably the best part of that, with Matthew Dow Smith. Mm-hmm. The last story was my favorite one, because it calls for the Superman Loves Batman theme song. This was a Valentine's Day story.
Sort of, I guess, yes.
With Superman trying to figure out what to get for Batman, I guess.
No, it starts out with Lois Lane giving him a present, and now he has to find a present for Lois Lane, because that's what BFFs do. You don't give one a present without reciprocating a present.
Wait, they're not boyfriend-girlfriend?
No, they're BFFs, Stan.
Okay.
BFFs. Superman does ask... Okay, they make it seem like Superman's asking Batman for advice. Superman is really asking Batman out on a date. Here's how that page starts. So, Bruce... Batman... just talking, because we're buds and all. What would be your perfect Valentine's Day date? Just, if you could choose anything, your perfect date. That's where the page begins with, Valentine's Day is a week away. Well, it's only 4 days.
Adorable Superman. But it really comes all full circle when, at the very end, Lois Lane gives him a little lead box so that he will never know what's inside of it. She feels as if there's not enough mystery in Superman's life. And so she gives him this lead box, which is sealed, so that he will never know what's inside of it. It's more of a symbolic present for Superman. And he laughs and he says, Lois, I already have one of those mysterious locked away boxes, someone I don't know. And to the regular reader, they'd say, oh, it's Lois Lane. He's referring to her, that is the gift to him.
Nah.
Come on, what other mysterious man is in his life? So that was probably my favorite of the 3 stories.
Yes, mine too. There are a lot of Superman Loves Batman moments in that book, though.
And Superman said he liked pink.
He did. Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Batman Beyond Universe, number 14. This is written by Kyle Higgins and Alec Siegel, with art by Phil Hester, Eric Gepster. Look, not white people names. Why do you do this to me? And Tony Silas. Finally, the colorists are Nick Filardi and Guy Major.
This is part 2 of the Phantasm story, which we were super excited for. I was a little bit let down by the conclusion.
Me too. I liked the things we discovered about Terry's character. I know that we eventually have to get to the world of epilogue.
Sure.
From Justice League Unlimited. Mm-hmm. I get that we have to get there. It's sad that we're seeing it happen already. Like, this is too much angst for me. It hits me right in the feels. And I just go, Terry, you're a dumbass. Stop it.
For a movie as epic as Mask of the Phantasm, this should have been like a 5-issue series where they could really do more with Andrea and more with actually what Terry was dealing with, because it felt like more of a story about how Terry would deal if he were to confront his father's killer. And that parallels with Bruce's life in a way, but because the story is about Batfake and not about that relationship between the Phantasm and Bruce Wayne Batman, that's where I was kind of like, this isn't right. The focus should be over here instead. Mm-hmm. Even the biggest Batman Beyond reader looks at this and goes, holy shit, it's the fucking Phantasm. Let's see that. And you get a little bit of it, and that is it.
Bruce doesn't even get any.
Bruce does not even get any. What kind of Batman story?
Bruce should have gotten a whole lot of something.
After all those years.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing, too, about Andrea, is you haven't seen the man you love in so many years, and you had to leave. And the first time you left and came back, it was like that. You came right back into his arms, and it was great. And you don't do that. It's like, this is the one woman who loved Batman and the one woman that Batman loved. And this is all we get. Like, just a see you later, bye. It didn't fit.
Yeah, exactly. If they had they could have left everything the same, but put in one panel where you see her upset by this interaction. And it would have made the feel 100% different. Just with that one little panel. The thing... Okay, even though they've been gone for years, and she probably had someone else that she loved a whole lot, because of the circumstances and the amount that they loved each other, she would never lose those feelings. Like, she's a woman. You feel that for the rest of your life. Bruce is probably always her one biggest regret, made even more so because of their roles as Batman and the Phantasm. So yes, they definitely should have played up on that so much more than they did. Even that one panel, that's all they needed.
Before we move forward, as a, Mask of the Phantasm fan, originally Kyle Higgins wanted to make it so that the Phantasm was actually Andrea's daughter.
Awesome.
You think that would have been better than actually following epilogue where it's still Andrea, even in the future, continuing as the Phantasm?
Who's the father?
That's the thing. We talked about this earlier. If that had been Bruce's kid...
Badass.
Would have been awesome. Mm-hmm. And it would have also made it so that the kid that he lost with Barbara, that void is filled again with him knowing that he does have a daughter in Andrea. Like, I thought that would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it would have been great. But I do like the fact that they kept it even with epilogue. It would still fit with epilogue, though. She could have done it till she was older, and now she's too old, so her daughter does it.
Right, because that was 17 years before this.
Right, and then Andrea still could have showed up where she did. Mm-hmm. I gotta remember not to spoil things, man. And then he could have gotten some.
We'll write a better one, or have Paul Dini hopefully write one. Next on our DC list is Bodies, number 3 of 8, written by Cy Spencer, art by Dean Ormstum, Megan Hetrick, and Tula Lotay, with colors by Lee Luffridge.
This is getting kind of confusing. I still really like this book, don't get me wrong, and I think within the next 5 issues for sure, it will all make sense. Right now it's a little confusing for me.
This is the point in any mystery story where you're giving way more pieces and now you aren't really sure what to do with them. We're given a direction, but we still don't know how this all ties in together. But we're starting to get there, and that's what I like about a good mystery story, especially one as, I guess, big and comprehensive as Bodies.
Yep, agreed. It's still great, and that is something that I really, really enjoy, where I have all these things floating in the back of my mind, and then we get 2 issues down the road, and suddenly that makes sense. That makes the story that much greater for me, because I feel like I discovered it myself. Still, I think it's telling a really great story. I think it's going to lead somewhere amazing. And I still want to know, every time I read the book, I'm like, what's that mystery phrase that ties it all together? Because they still haven't told me. And they told me there was one in book 1, and it has 2 does in it, and it's only 5 words. I still haven't discovered it yet, but I will. Next is Harley Quinn Future's End, number 1. This is written by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, with art by Chad Hardin, and colorist is Alex Sinclair.
Let me just say that this is probably now my second favorite of the Future's End covers. They're
really?
all out. They're all out now. Like, this is it. This is my second favorite.
It's really good. It's a fun cover.
The art by Amanda Connor is amazing. Again, I wish she would do interiors for the entire book. But the story, the cover itself has the wedding between the Harley and Joker, and then it has the honeymoon where they're killing each other. So one they're happy, next they're really angry at themselves.
So like a normal marriage.
And then I love the border. It's like a hot pink or almost a magenta color to it all. It's awesome. I love it. The story itself was awesome, too. Really funny. Mm-hmm. It doesn't change too much in the 5 years that we jump into the future. And I don't feel like it should with someone like Harley Quinn. I wouldn't have liked it if she wasn't this darker, Future's End thing. Because it is Harley Quinn, it's lighter. And that's where it all stayed. She gets lost on an island where natives immediately worship her. And you can sort of guess what kind of crazy shit she makes them do. Because she's just as psychotic as the Joker. Does the Joker make an appearance? Absolutely.
Yes, it was amazing. It was a lot of fun seeing these two characters. Seeing how crazy... Like, when they're together, it's gold. I get that we try to get Harley away from the Joker, and, with Amanda and Jimmy, they can handle Harley away from the Joker. But when those two are together, that's when she's at her best.
This could have easily been an episode from Batman the Animated Series.
Mm-hmm.
The interaction between the two characters was spot on, exactly like the cartoon, exactly what we like to see when those two share a comic book. It was really creepy to see them together in the Death of the Family, because it was a completely different Joker, and that was great. Like, we like that too. But if we're going to do the lighter look to it all, this is the book for it. And even Chad Hardin's artwork was much lighter than the regular Harley Quinn work, and I wish he would keep that throughout the entire series.
Mm-hmm. It was great. It gave a nod to this next arc that we're going to see as well. Did you catch that?
Yeah, that was done perfectly.
Right, done great. I did kind of get the feeling from this book, though, and I don't know if it was just me. Jimmy and Amanda thought all this Future's End stuff was nonsense. Like, really, you're making me stop for this?
Let's make the best of it, yeah.
Right. They did make the best of it, but there were kind of tones where you could kind of tell that they're like, this is kind of pointless. I don't know why they made us do this, but we're going to put out a good book anyway.
And it's going to sell.
Yeah. Oh, it'll definitely sell. It was totally worth it. These two characters are so funny. I love even all their little island people. I'm like, I want to take you all home and dress you up as Batman too, because that's fun.
Last book on our list is Sinestro Future's End #1, written by Cullen Bunn, art by Igor Lima, and colors by Jason Wright.
I really liked this book.
I liked it too. It jumps into the future. Sinestro is no longer a Yellow Lantern. In fact, he has no finger where that ring would normally go, and he's in a prison. In a prison surrounded by people that he normally would rule over.
Where they take away your name.
Yeah. They make this out to be like this super crazy hell place, and then they're still like, hey, do your job over there. Like they would have just killed you if it was really
go make a license,
terrible
please.
place. But instead, Sinestro, being the rebel that he is, he plans an escape, and you kind of see everything unfold in this issue. I felt like they still captured the character of Sinestro perfectly. Mm-hmm. Like, everything he did there, it's like, okay, he wouldn't stand for this. Yes, he would find a way, and it's really done well. But then in the direction that they took it in with the later part of the issue is the part I did not like. And that's what I referred to with the last review, this Future's End, the dark arc thing. It goes to a really dark place with Sinestro's future, with the rest of his core, to the point where he becomes something completely different, and that's where I was just like, no.
Let Sinestro do what he wants. He'll be the greatest that thing too. Sinestro could be like, I'm gonna be an exotic dancer, and he'd be the best one. Like, whatever he decides to do.
A Star Sapphire.
I want him to have the full suit with just his belly button cut out.
You mean what Bane wore in Justice League?
Did he have his belly button cut out?
He did. It was in that Justice League animated movie with the whole voice actors.
Yeah. Yes.
It wasn't Justice League War. I forgot. Doomed. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. Justice League Doomed. Bane should have had one of those tubes connected to his belly button as well. Like, just fuck it. Like, just do it.
That's too much like an umbilical cord, though. That's weird. That's weird.
So what'd you think of this issue, though?
I did really enjoy it. I can see why you didn't like the end of it. I thought it was kind of cool, because it feels like the Sinestro feels he has no other options. And I think if Sinestro is backed into a corner, yes, that's what he would do.
And it was very reflective, too, of how he discovered the Yellow Lantern again in Jeff Johns' final arc with the Wrath of the First Lantern. So I can see where that paralleled. And again, I still like the issue. It's just that ending kind of, I was like,
I think if we could continue with this, because this is it, right?
Yes.
It's just one issue.
Right.
I think if we could have continued with that, it would have been great because we would see him use this new power to defeat his enemies. And then I think we would have a very touching moment at the end of it all where he lets that go.
Yeah.
And understands, you know...
Acceptance.
Feels that acceptance. You would have that great last panel where he's just on his knees before all of this. Because he realizes even though he could use this power to keep them, it is what it is. And he's just got to lay that to rest.
Yeah.
Which would be great if we could just have one more issue. 2 more issues. That's all we need.
Just another page.
Right. That would just bring this full circle and make this amazing. Unfortunately, it is just 1 issue. So they started something great and they're like, meh, done.
So that will do it for our comics and the podcast this week. My pick of the week was Red Sonja number 12.
And mine was Saga number 23.
My pass of the week was Cartoon Network Super Secret Crisis War number 4.
And mine was Bravest Warriors number 24.
If you enjoyed the show, please make sure to leave us a review on iTunes and on Stitcher. You can find the link to that at nerdupmedia.com. While you're there, check out the rest of our shows. If you enjoyed this one, you may enjoy the other ones as well. We have 2 more other podcasts, Those Two Jerks, and then a video podcast, The Read Pile. Also, a Let's Play channel, which is The Lazy Gaming Guys.
As always, we love to hear from you guys, so if you have any questions for us or anything you want to talk about, you can hit us up on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke, or we're also on Facebook. Just search The Reasons I'm Broke.
Thank you very much for listening, Brokettes, and for the feedback we get. We really appreciate all of it. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
We'll see you next week.